Hello everyone and welcome to Total Quilter Monthly for November 2021. My name is Mark Garetz and I'm a National Floriani educator. And this month we're going to be going over something that came up recently on the forum, and that is how to attach stitch designs or other kinds of designs to AppliQuilt blocks. So if you want to follow along with me today, go ahead and open up Total Quilter, otherwise you can just watch. So what we're going to be covering today is if you have an AppliQuilt block, how do you attach stitches to it? So I'm going to go ahead and open up an AppliQuilt block that I have already made. And if you don't know where the AppliQuilt blocks are, they're right here under this icon right here. And these are pre-built AppliQuilt blocks. So that's what we're going to start with. So if I click that, you'll see that I get blocks that open up here, and I can select one of these and then I can modify it. But I've already done that, so I'm not going to do that again. I'm going to go ahead and click my file, and it's this one here, block.waf, and I'm going to turn on 3D. And you can see that we have a normal AppliQuilt block. These are the AppliQuilt connection stitches, and I have added to this block some decors, which is are actually our embellishments, which is this is a flower design, and these are a flower design that I echoed around into the four corners. And I've got this block now. This is just right now a regular block. It is not technically an AppliQuilt block, because even though I started with an AppliQuilt block, which is right here, I added all this other stuff which is not AppliQuilt. All right, it's just stitches right now. And what we're going to be covering today is how do you make this into an AppliQuilt block. So to show you what I mean, if I were to select all of these items here, so I'm selecting everything, and then I copy it. So I'm going to go up here to my copy icon and click that. And now I'm going to open up Quilt Builder, which is a way to put AppliQuilt blocks together. I'm going to do that by clicking this new Quilt Builder block grid here, and it's going to go ahead and open up that grid. Now I could adjust this grid, but for these purposes I'm not going to bother. I'm just going to use what the default is. I'm going to select the first block, and now I should be able to right click it and paste that block in. But you see, these are all grayed out. I can't paste it because Quilt Builder only works with actual AppliQuilt blocks. It doesn't work with any other kind of block. And as I said before, this block over here is not a true AppliQuilt block, at least not yet. So I'm going to show you what you need to do to convert it into an AppliQuilt block. So I'm going to select all these extra items here. This is actually a piece of artwork. I don't need it, so I'm actually just going to go ahead and delete it. I'm going to select my stitches, and I'm going to hide them by clicking the little eyeball icon right here, which is going to turn them off. All right. Now if I select everything, or just select the block, and I copy it, so I'm going to go over here to copy. I'm going to go back to my quilt grid here, my Quilt Builder grid, and now if I right click, you see I can paste it. I can paste it different ways. Let me just paste it to everything. And you'll see that that shows up, but my stitches are not there. Now that's because I hid them, but also because of another reason. Okay, so it's because that block is not an AppliQuilt block. So I'm going to actually undo that paste, so we got it blank again. I'm going to go back to my block, and I'm going to unhide these two. And like we did before, if I just select everything and paste it, it's not going to go in. So what's the secret? The secret is that we need to take these stitch objects and attach them to the AppliQuilt block. And once we do that, then this will become a legal, quote-unquote, AppliQuilt block that we can then export as an AppliQuilt block along with all the stitches, or put it into Quilt Builder, or whatever we need to do with it. To do that, you select everything. So I'm selecting the AppliQuilt block, and I'm selecting all the stitches that I want to attach. And then I'm going to come up here to this icon right here. It's purple with a paper clip in it, and that says attach to block. And this is how I attach stitches to my AppliQuilt block. So now that I've done that, you can see that it collapsed everything. If I open it up, you'll see that I've got this attached item right here, and this is all of my stitches that I attached to it. So now if I select this block and I copy it, and I go back over to my quilt builder grid, I can right click and paste to all blocks. Okay, or I could just paste to one block or whatever I want. And now you see I have the block with all my stitches, because I've taken that block that wasn't a legal AppliQuilt block, turned it into a legal AppliQuilt block by attaching the stitches, and that is the secret. So that's what I wanted to teach you. So this ended up being a fairly short video. Let me add some extras to it for you. So you might want to know how I created this AppliQuilt block. So let's go over how I did that. The first thing I did was I got a new design window. And I did that by clicking New. Okay, or I just opened the program. That'll do the same thing. And then I selected an AppliQuilt block that I wanted to work with. So to do that, once again, I click AppliQuilt blocks. And the block that I selected was in the basic block. So I click the down arrow there, go to basic blocks, and this is basic block 21, and that's the one that I picked to do. Now I added some embellishments to it. Embellishments are right here under this icon. If I click that, you'll see that I get a folder called Birds. I've got a lot of different ones to choose from, but I chose Flowers, and the flower I chose was this one right here, Flower 4A. So I click that, and it came right into the center, and it was about the right size, so I just decided to leave it. And I'm going to go ahead and turn on 3D so you can see those stitches a little better. And there's an extra item in here. Whenever you bring in an embellishment, it has an outline around it, and we use that for doing things like stippling around it, etc. We're not going to use that today, so I'm just going to select that artwork outline and delete it. I'm going to click delete on my keyboard to delete it. And then I wanted to add something in the four corners. So I went back to my embellishments, and I could add anything I want, but I want to add another flower design to stay kind of in the same theme. So these are kind of a 45-degree or triangular kind of a design, as opposed to this flower, which was more round or square. So I've kept that, and then I've chosen a design that will fit in the corner well. So I'm going to bring it down here because it's facing the right way for this corner. And also I'll have that artwork item again, so I'm going to go ahead and select and delete it. And then I need to size this, okay, because it's a little bit small for what I want to do. So I'm just going to hover over that sizing handle there and click and drag. And I'm going to drag it from the other corner to make it bigger that way. And oops, I clicked the wrong thing. I'm going to undo. Let me click off it and click more precisely. There we go. I'm going to kind of position this a little bit just by eye. And then I want to make another one over here. So there's a couple different ways I can do that. I can do copy and paste. I'm going to use this little shortcut right here, which is a duplicate shortcut. So I'm going to click that, and then I'm going to flip it so it goes the right way over here. So I'm going to do flip horizontal, and then I'm going to drag it over into the proper place over here. Now I think by eyeball that's pretty good, but if I want to be a little bit more precise, I can select both of these, and I'm going to hold down the Control key on my keyboard and click my first object. You can see I've got both of them selected now. Now I'm going to come up here to my alignment icons, and I'm going to do an align to bottom. Okay, I could do a top or middle, doesn't matter, but I'm just going to do an align to bottom, and you can see it moved this one over here, and I think it's pretty well positioned. Now to get them up here, I could just copy one and rotate it again, but I'm going to, since I got both of these selected, I'm going to do a shortcut. I'm going to do a duplicate of both of those, and then I'm going to flip both of them together, and then I'm just going to drag them up here. All right, and I can just kind of eyeball those, and that looks pretty good. And that's how I created my block. Now once again, this, even though I started with an AppliQuilt block, in the shape that it's in right now, it is not an AppliQuilt block. You won't be able to export it as an AppliQuilt block. You can see that all of my export icons are not lit up. Even if I select everything, I can't export it. I can't put it into a quilt builder grid like we did. So to attach these, once again, we have to attach them. Now you'd think you might be able to just select the stitches, okay? So I'm going to select both the stitch objects here, but my attach icon is still not lit up. That's because it doesn't know what I want to attach them to. Even though there's only one AppliQuilt block here, it is legal for me to have more than one AppliQuilt block in a design. So it needs to know which AppliQuilt block to attach it to. So what you need to do is select the block and all the stitches together. And to do that shortcut, I'm just going to click all items to select everything. And now my attach is lit up, so I can click it, and that attaches these stitch objects to my AppliQuilt block. And now if I select the block, you can see that I could export it or do whatever I want with it. All right, so that is again how you create an AppliQuilt block with extra stitches, and it could be the built-in designs. It could be something that you brought in from a purchase design or another design you did. It could be lettering. Whatever other things you want to create that are not strictly created with the AppliQuilt block creator need to be attached to that block to get it to become a legal AppliQuilt block. So I want to thank everybody for watching, and I want to invite you to come back next month for another edition of Total Quilter Monthly.